It was 8:45 a.m. when the elevator chimed, and out stepped a woman carrying a baby, a tote bag on her shoulder, and a document file pressed tightly against her chest. Her name was Natalie Raines, 33 years old, tired but composed, eyes filled with something most people couldn't recognize, strength hidden behind struggle. She wasn't wearing a power suit. No designer heels. Just jeans, a beige overcoat, and worn-out sneakers, and in her arms, a 7-month-old baby boy who kept tugging at her shirt. She made her way to the receptionist and whispered, "I'm here to deliver an urgent file. Could you please allow me access to the 21st floor?" The receptionist, a young man, looked unsure but eventually buzzed her through. As Natalie passed by the waiting area, murmurs rose behind her. Is she allowed up with a baby? Why doesn't she just drop the file downstairs? She clearly doesn't belong in a place like this. She walked past them all with quiet grace and reached the waiting lounge outside the main conference room. The meeting hadn't started yet, so she sat quietly in the corner, bouncing her son on her knee. Moments later, the baby grew fussy. She pulled out his bottle, but it slipped, rolled across the floor and under the table where 3 junior employees were chatting with coffee cups in hand. All 3 saw it. None of them moved. Natalie, trying not to panic, bent awkwardly to reach for it, but the baby in her arms made it impossible. That's when Jennifer, a janitor in her early 50s, gently stepped forward. She wore a faded uniform, a mop in one hand, kindness in her eyes. She bent down, picked up the bottle, wiped it with her own cloth, and handed it back with a smile. "Here you go, sweetheart. I raised 4 boys. I know that cry." Natalie smiled. "Thank you. You're very kind." Just a few steps away stood Nancy Harper, mid-40s, proud of her high heels and her senior director badge. She raised her eyebrows and said loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear. "And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why women like her never make it to the top. Keep popping out babies and you'll be picking up trash or dropping files for others the rest of your life." A few people chuckled. One young man looked awkward but said nothing. Jennifer's face flushed. Natalie didn't respond. They all assumed she was just another desperate single mom. But she wasn't. 2 years ago, Natalie was cleaning rooms at a cheap motel near Queens. Her husband had died in a construction accident just 3 weeks after she discovered she was pregnant. With no support, no family nearby, and $42 in her account, Natalie had nearly given up. But something inside her refused to break. She worked night shifts cleaning bathrooms, spent her afternoons at business school on a full-ride scholarship, and her evenings caring for her newborn in a corner of a shared apartment. Her professors loved her. She graduated top of her class, with a baby in her arms. She pitched an idea for a workplace wellness tech platform that caught the attention of a major investor. 1 year later, her startup was acquired by a major firm, and the board offered her the position of CEO of that very company. The announcement was made just days ago. But no one in the office had seen her yet. Until today. The meeting room buzzed as employees took their seats, waiting to meet the mysterious new CEO, who was rumored to be young, progressive, and bold. Then the doors opened. Natalie walked in. Alone. Composed. No baby in hand now, she'd left him with the building's nursery just moments ago. She stepped up to the podium, opened her file, and began. "Good morning. I'm Natalie Raines, your new CEO." The room froze. Mouths opened. Coffee cups paused mid-air. Nancy's jaw dropped. No one had connected that woman in the waiting area, the one with the messy hair and a baby bottle, with the title CEO. Natalie scanned the room. No one spoke. She let the silence linger. Then she said gently, "Before I take your questions, I want to share something personal." She paused. Her voice was soft, but each word carried weight. "I wasn't always in this position. Just 2 years ago, I was scrubbing motel floors and feeding my son with borrowed formula. My husband had died. I had no money, no safety net, and no idea how to survive. But I had a dream, not for success, but for dignity. People listened, transfixed. I remember the looks people gave me when I walked into spaces like this, tired, messy, with a child in my arms. I remember being invisible. I remember being judged. Her eyes settled on Nancy, whose face had turned red. Then Natalie looked toward the door and called softly. "Jennifer, would you come in, please?" The janitor stepped inside nervously. Natalie walked up to her, took her hand, and turned to the room. This woman, just minutes ago, was the only one who saw me, not just the mess I carried. That is leadership. That is humanity. Jennifer began to cry silently. Natalie placed an arm around her shoulder. From today onward, Jennifer will be head of our workplace wellness committee, with full support, salary upgrade, and a voice. The entire room stood up in applause. Even Nancy. Natalie walked back to the podium and concluded. Never assume someone's worth by how they look, or what they carry. Because sometimes, the one you ignore today, might be leading you tomorrow. A new mural was painted in the lobby with golden words. Respect. Empathy. Growth. New policies, on-site childcare, flexible hours for mothers, and leadership mentorship for all support staff. A frame hung beside it. Natalie, holding her son, smiling with Jennifer, two women who refused to be defined by their roles. She came in holding a baby and left holding a company. Not because she had power, but because she had heart. And heart, that's what real leaders are made of.